Hey, what's up? This is Rene Lacad, and you are listening to the Ambiance podcast.
What up, people? Welcome back to Ambiance podcast. I'm sitting here with my bro, Rene Lacad. That's how you say it, right?
Yep, that's right.
Man, thank you for coming out. Came through from Miami, back to LA, which you're actually from Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, man. I'm born and bred LA.
Born and bred in LA.
And it's funny because like you never realize you have LA accent until people from other states and places are like, "Yo, where are you from?" Like I'm like LA. They're like, "I can tell."
Wait, break down what an LA accent is though.
What you just did, bro. The way you just sound, the way I guess I sound, like I guess we have, I don't even know if it's necessarily like an accent, more of like a demeanor. I don't know what it is. People just say it and I'm like, cool. At this point, I'm kind of like, all right, I guess.
That's interesting because it's kind of just like so normal to us because we're from this area, just like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like that's how people talk.
Yeah, no, I've definitely heard that. Like the way you carry yourself if you're from Los Angeles. We were talking about this off camera too, just like how you're kind of fast paced a little bit. Yeah. Where if you're like, you have a lot of things going on in your life, it's just one of those things where you're from LA.
Well, yeah, LA's like it's the slow, fast city, if that makes sense. Cause like New York is fucking crazy. I was in New York and like they don't stop there. And like they're fast. LA, when people from New York go to LA, they're like, oh my goodness, you guys don't work, you guys are slow. But anywhere else goes to LA, they're like, oh, you guys are all doing something entertainment wise. Or like, LA feels like the slow, fast city, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense the way you explained it for sure too. And different areas, do you believe actually, I want to start off with this, do you think that where you're from has an impact, like your environment, on who you are when you grow up?
100%. 100%. I think like there's people always say this, right? Like I think LeVar Ball said this when they were talking about like Michael Jordan's kids. They said that because his kids grew up rich and they weren't like hungry, that they didn't really have that drive to be like the best. Because you see it all the time, like people, and I see it all the time, when you see like rich kids that grew up rich, they don't necessarily have that same dog in them, that same like spark, that same fire in their belly. Or like, I don't want to generalize and say all of them, but a lot of them don't have that fire in their belly that kids that grew up in poverty or like lower income households do, because they want to get out, they need to get out.
Yeah. So speaking on that, how did you grow up when you were younger? Did you grow up with, I kind of know the answer to this, but I want you to explain it more for the audience. How did you grow up and how did that have an impact on who you are now?
So I grew up with a single mom. She immigrated here from the Philippines. So she speaks English, but it's broken English. She didn't necessarily have paperwork. My dad left when I was like 3 or 4. So I remember we stayed in like a studio apartment with cockroaches, and it's not like a nice studio. When people think studio apartments, they think like in a high rise somewhere here in Los Angeles. No, it's like the suburbs. It's like an hour that way east, and we stayed in a little studio apartment. I remember those cockroaches. I was like 3 or 4 years old. These are some of my earliest memories, and we didn't really have money, but we had enough to like, it's a beautiful thing that parents do when they have kids, is they make a little bit seem like a lot.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because with me, right, like I have a friend and I had her come stay with me at my mom's house. Me and my mom's house is so normal. It's like, it is what it is. But her house still doesn't have air conditioning, still doesn't have an AC. So when she was there, she was like, you grew up like this? And I was like, yeah, but this is not bad. This is good compared to like how it was before. Like my mom figured her shit out. Now she got a house. Before we were in a studio apartment with cockroaches and shit. Now we got a house, we're comfortable. She got like 3 bedrooms in this house now, but there's still no AC. And my friend was like, how did you do this? I've never experienced this in my life. This is poverty. And it's like, this is not poverty.
Yeah. I feel like you don't usually get a good idea of like what's better than your situation until you actually see things.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because when you're that young, you don't know what you're missing out on at the end of the day.
Right. And yeah, so you don't really know, like, you feel like you have everything you need. And it's a beautiful thing that comes from poverty. And I hate to say it, right? Because like there's nothing beautiful about poverty, but something beautiful that does come from it is like appreciating things, the little things, appreciating the little things. Because I tell everyone this now. I have a lot of friends that are rich now, that have a lot of money. And these guys are all fucking divas. Yeah. They're all divas. I can curse on this podcast, right?
100%, yeah.
They're all fucking divas. And like, they're like, oh, I'm not drinking water unless it's sparkling water. Or like they'll order at a restaurant. They're like, oh, this caviar is not good caviar. And it's like, bro, fucking put anything in front of me, I'm good. I don't care if there's no AC. I don't care like if I need to sleep on the floor, I will do whatever. So stuff like that, appreciation for life. I feel like there's a lot more appreciation for the little things when you don't have that stuff, when you don't realize that that stuff exists.
Because you grew up with nothing, you know what I mean? So when you one day have children, how are you going to navigate that situation? Because I'm assuming when the time comes, you do have children, you're going to have a good amount of money to spoil them if you really wanted to.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it too, that's a tough question, right? Because like I'm young, I'm 25, like I don't even think about that stuff yet.
Yeah.
But I do want to say I'm going to teach them like toughness, discipline. I did martial arts growing up. That's kind of how we know each other for the audience.
Shout out to Dustin.
Yeah, I know him. Shout out to Dustin. I know his cousin because he taught me martial arts when I was younger. That's one thing that changed my life too. I got into martial arts. I got a lot of discipline, and it helped me.
It applies to everything else in life.
100%. Yeah. That's why you see all these athletes that become successful at every single endeavor, because that discipline carries over. But to answer that question, like I look at people like Dustin who has kids, he has a family, and Dustin didn't have much growing up, but his kids have a bunch now. Yeah. And I see his kids and I'm like, these kids are doing great. Like they're picking stuff up. And I think the way he teaches them discipline is the same thing that applies to a lot of things. So am I going to make my kids starve and like have to eat sardines like I did? Probably not. But I'm going to teach them discipline. I'm not going to just spoil them and buy them whatever they want. I'm going to make sure they work for it or they understand the value of working for something.
Yeah, man. And it's funny that you notice those little qualities of people when they grow up, or like when you're at the age you're at now, where they're just the way they act or they carry themselves. You're just like, yo, I could tell that you had a lot of shit when you were growing up.
You were just spoiled. You were just spoiled. And then you could tell that when stuff doesn't go their way too. Because when stuff doesn't go my way, I'm pretty chill about it. I'm like, we're going to figure this out. But yeah, people, when stuff doesn't go their way, they're kind of like, they get angry, they get frustrated, they get mad. Yeah. And it's like, ooh, you've never had to solve problems.
You never had adversity like that. Yeah, most definitely.
It goes back to what we were talking about like 2 minutes ago. It's like when you're broke, there's a lot of adversity that comes with it. And I think it helps shape you as a person.
No, yeah, it definitely helps you shape you as a person. And it also prepares you to be kind of like battle tested when you grow up as well. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because here's my thing. I've been broke and I've been rich. And no matter what level you're playing the game at, there's always adversity. Yeah. There's always adversity. People are like, rich people don't have problems. They have problems. They're just different problems. But nonetheless, there are still problems.
That's very true. There's different type of problems. All right, man. Let's bring it back a little. I feel like we just went in. Yeah, went deep in. I like it. No, that's what that's how I like to start it off. For those people listening and watching who don't know, who is Rene Lacad, and also what do you do as an entrepreneur? Give the people a background on you.
Yeah, so my name is Rene Lacad, and I'm a 25-year-old entrepreneur. I'm a college dropout, so I started my business. I don't have any college degrees or formal education, as you can say. But I've successfully started a few different businesses, but it all spanned from my first business, which was a creative agency. And for those of you guys that don't know what a creative agency is, we create like the commercials you see. And the one thing mine did specifically was commercials for social media. So the ads you see on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, like all the content you see on social media and all the ads you see on social media, that's what my agency did, on top of like running those ads and sending them out to people. So we did that. We generated, I think to date, we've done like $30 million in revenue for all of the companies we've done. And as you start to do that, right, you start to build other businesses. So I started a few other businesses. I started Amazon stores. I started little brands, stuff like this. Which
Unlimiter.
Yes, sir. So go get some of that.
Some of that. We'll talk about that more for sure.
Yeah. So I just did all that stuff, and it's cool because you get to create things. It's beautiful. One of the beautiful parts about life is creating stuff that you see in your head. Yeah. Right. It sounds crazy, and people think I'm crazy when I talk about it. I feel like that like these National Geographic conspiracy theories guys. But like, it's true though, when you have something like a vision and you see it in your head and then you can turn it into a reality, it's like, it's undescribable feeling. And me and Dustin talk about this all the time, where it's like, we're at his house just talking about business, life in general.
If I go to his house, I'll be there for like 5 hours talking about that.
Just business that type stuff, shit, right? Yeah. And I remember I was going over some stuff because like, he, as far as business goes, he's very old school. I'm like new school business, but like I've done a lot of training. Like I've met a lot of people that have a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe even billions of dollars. I don't know. I never asked them their net worth, but I learned a lot. And like, I'm just going into it with him. Like I'm teaching him all the stuff, and he just sits there and he goes, I'm high right now. I'm getting high off of this conversation. Like I'm literally, I feel high right now.
Conversation can do that, man. For
so
sure.
It's, yeah, man, that's long story short. That's what I do. I owned a creative agency, and then from there I started other businesses. But my bread and butter will always be the creative aspect of business, right? The things that entice people. One thing I love about Apple or Nike, these big companies, they have incredible marketing that just captivates people.
Okay.
It's like they get lost. If you watch a Nike commercial, you feel something inside.
Yeah.
And like you watch an Apple commercial, right? You feel something inside. These companies do that through, it's almost like a mix of business and art, and I love it.
Yeah, it's like a science of its own almost as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a question. What inspired you to even, or not inspire is like the right word, like believe in yourself enough to have the success that you have right now? Because as a kid growing up with not much in the area where you grew up from, I feel like it's hard to find inspiration because you don't see many people around you doing the things you want to do, and also you don't see people like you doing the things you want to do. So where did that first spark of belief in yourself come from?
I think it all boils down to like actually doing stuff, right? And part of it comes from the martial arts, the discipline I got from that. But bigger than that, like one thing that a lot of people don't realize is everyone wants to be rich. If you ask anyone in the street, like, hey, do you want to be rich? Obviously. Do you want to be famous? Some people might say no, but a lot of people will say yes. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. That's everyone's goal. But they want it. They don't need it.
Yeah.
Right. I think the one thing that was different for me is I needed it.
Okay.
So it was a non-negotiable.
You didn't have an option.
Yeah.
What was the option? Being broken?
Because my mom was very traditional. I'm Filipino, so my mom was very traditional, and she's a single mom. So she was very risk adverse. She didn't want to take any risks. And she was just like, become an engineer, go to college, get a job. You'll make like $40 an hour. That was her goal for me. Like, if you can make $40 an hour, you'll be rich. You'll be great. And I remember being a kid, I'm like, ooh, $40 an hour sounds like a lot.
Yeah. That
sounds fucking cool. I'm like think of all the things I can buy for $40 an hour, right? And as I got older, that slowly started like fading away. I was in college. I was like, fuck, I'm doing all of this for that. Like, yeah. And I just started looking so much bigger. I'm like, there's no way. Like I did the math. I was like, if I make $40 an hour, that's like 80 grand a year. It will take me 13 years to make $1 million. So I did the math. I was like, if I'm in college right now, I'm 18, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to be like 21, 22. It's going to take me another 12 years to make $1 million. That's considering I don't pay any taxes or save any money. I'll be lucky if I'm a millionaire by the time I'm like 45. So when I thought about that, I was like, why the fuck am I doing this thing? Why am I going to college for this?
Yeah.
To like, if there's no real payoff here.
Yeah.
There's nothing happening. So like from there, I just did a huge deep dive. I read a bunch of books. I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Mm-hmm. In retrospect, like it doesn't teach you too much about business or like making money, but it's a great like starter for someone that doesn't know. Yeah. Cause then it opens their mind to like, holy shit, I can do that. I don't have to exchange my time for money to make money. Yeah. And that's where I kind of got the deep dive. It was like, I don't think I'm lucky, but I think I'm lucky in the sense that like it's a perfect storm of things. I did martial arts, which taught me a lot of discipline, right? I kind of did that mental exercise in my head where I'm like, hey, it's gonna take me this long to become a millionaire. I stumbled on a book that got me into entrepreneurship or like investing or making money, stop trading my time for money. And a combination of all this stuff, the discipline that comes with that, like it helped me say, no, I don't want to be rich. I need to be rich. This is the only option for me. I'm not doing anything else. Yeah. And it just, that's kind of like how that started, how I came about that. I love that, man, because I can relate that a lot to my path and just how I came up with what I'm doing now, even with like schooling. I remember when I was going to school, like my parents didn't ever save for me to go to college. Like I grew up like you, didn't have much, but my parents did everything they could for me, made a little seem like a lot too. And I just always thought like, how am I going to make it to get the success I want to get in life? So I use a different avenue. I like use sports and football, ended up getting a scholarship to play and pay for school. And just, it's one of those things, bro, because if my parents had money and I knew that I had a pocket, a safeguard for them to pay for my schooling, I probably wouldn't have went as hard because like in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm going to college regardless because of them. But because I didn't have an option, it's just like, yo, either I got to be like 100 and something K in debt, or I'm gonna use the skill to pay for this schooling. You know, like it's literally like that though. When people have something to fall back on, like a safety cushion, they usually lose motivation. And I know this from experience. When I was broke, bro, it was so easy to get up in the morning. I would get up
Yeah.
at 6 in the morning and be like, let's fucking hustle today. Now, I don't set alarms. I just wake up whenever I want. And then, like, let's say I need to get work done. I'm kind of like, fuck it, I'll do it tomorrow. Because I can put it off. I can afford to put it off.
That's true. It's a different challenge you have now.
It's something I battle with every day. So people are like, people think it's a disadvantage being broke. It is, but like, it's also an advantage because you're fucking hungry. You want it.
Yeah.
I wish I had that fire in me back then. I wanted to prove everyone wrong. I'm kind of like, fuck you, everyone. Like, I'm going to be fucking rich. I was so like gung-ho on like making money. Now that I have money, I'm kind of like, I still have goals and aspirations, but it's not the same as like, there's no judgment. It's kind of like, there's no pressure on me.
Yeah.
And that pressure, for me at least, it made me better.
So how does the 25-year-old Rene, with all the success you've obtained, not be content and still push for more?
I feel like life is a game and there's levels to the game. So I remember worrying about eating and stuff, right? And people think like, okay, stop. This sounds like are you a rapper? Like, you sound like a rapper. Like, I used to struggle for my meals. But it's true. I have it on my Twitter. On my Twitter, I tweeted this like 2014, 2015. Hey, where can I buy food for cheap? I'm on a budget right now. And I'm like asking Twitter, like, where can I get food? This is when I had just moved out. All my money was going to rent. I barely had any money to survive.
Where were you working at?
I was at CarMax. I was a car salesman.
Okay.
So I was making okay money, like 40 grand a year. I had just started. I didn't know much about sales. I was making like 40 grand a year. I had a place and it was pricey, but it was okay. And I was asking, where can I make money? Like, how can I make money? I mean, where can I get food? And I asked people that. So this is the stuff I was worrying about before, right? And then progressively, as I made more money, I'm like, cool. Now, once all my bills are covered, I'm like, how can I make more money? How can I turn my money into more money? And then now, like, as you go on, you start going, how can I do this faster? Because like when you start thinking about it, the only thing is speed. Anyone can become a millionaire if we all live to 200 years.
Yeah, it's true.
Save some money, invest some money. After 200 years, it'll be $1 million.
Yeah.
What people don't realize or what people don't account for is the cost of time. It's the cost of time. Because like I said, if I give you 10 grand right now, you put it in a bank or not a bank, like an investment fund for like 100 years, bro, in 100 years, that 10 grand is going to be like $1 million.
Yeah.
You'll be a millionaire. It's going to cost you 100 years though.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost you nothing. People are like, I'm letting my money work for me. It's like, great, but how fast is it really working for you?
Very true, yeah.
So now in my head, this level of like this game that I'm playing now, it's no longer before like the level I had to pass was, how do I get food? Then it was, how do I make more money? Then it was like, how do I get cooler stuff? Let's say I want cooler stuff. It progressively like turned into, how can I do this fast now? How can I build a machine to do this fast? How can I do it? And like, you learn rules to the game because life does have rules, right? Like, and it's fairly simple. A lot of people know these rules to life. They just don't look at it like a game though. Great example. You want to be fit? Like, what do you have to do? Work out.
Yeah, obviously.
Everyone knows that. Why is obesity so bad then?
Because people don't know how to play the game of working out.
It's not even necessarily playing the game, but it's like you know the rules, but like you don't want to play by the rules because it's hard.
Yeah, or you just don't want it bad enough.
Yeah, like life is simple. It's not easy. That's another quote that I live by. Like, life is simple. You know what you need to do.
We overcomplicate it.
But it's not. Yeah, but it's not easy. Like, like you know you have to work out. Do people work out? No, because it's fucking hard.
Yeah, no, that's very true. It's because like it's easy to say you have to work out, but like when you're actually doing it on a consistent basis, it's just like, how are you gonna do something or how are you gonna act when you're in the gym and you've had a long ass day and like you know what I mean? Like, it's easy for you to say it when you're motivated, but you're not always motivated. So how are you gonna?
And the game of like money is the same thing. It's like, it's easy to say, hey, I want to make this much money, but it's harder to do after. Like, I remember when I had a job still and I was trying to build this business. It's hard when you have a job and you come home and you're fucking tired and you still have to work on another thing. You're like, ugh, it feels gross. I tell everyone that wants to start businesses, I'm like, yo, you're better off if you want an easy life, get a job, get a good paying job. You clock in, you clock out, you go home, pay your bills, maybe get a dog, start a family. You'll live a good life, save some money. You'll be rich by the time you're old. Yeah. But if you want an extraordinary life, it's gonna be fucking difficult.
Yeah, and the thing is, if somebody wants that type of life, it's okay. Like, if somebody wants to live that type of life where they're normal and like just like make ends meet, and they can still have fun on the weekends. Like, it's okay that they want that, but like if you want an extraordinary life, you got to do extraordinary things. You can't be doing the same shit you're doing and expect to achieve whatever success that you want to achieve.
100%. I agree with that. Yeah, and people don't realize that. People think like it's hard and they get discouraged. They assume it's like there's luck involved, and it's not. It's literally, you just do what you need to do. There's rules to the game, play by the rules, and it will all work out for you.
So when you wanted to start embarking on entrepreneurship, what was the first step you took, and what were some learning experiences that you had along that way?
This is what I tell everyone, because I think a lot of people think there's a magic pill. There's no magic pill. Honestly, there is a magic pill. We're going to talk about that later. But literally what it is massive action.
Massive action. Explain that.
Massive action. So when I started business, my first venture into business was not this creative agency. I wasn't like, I want to start a creative agency, and then I go start it and makes a bunch of money. And like we're all
yeah, because the thing is, people that are hearing this right now, they might in their minds are just like thinking this super fast track to success for you, but it wasn't like that, right?
No. It was actually a lot more complicated. So like a good example is people thought it was like gonna be this easy thing. I thought I was gonna start a business, become a millionaire instantly, right? Like that's what you think when you're enthusiastic and you're young. But in reality, what had happened was I started a bunch of different things. My very first business, it's weird as fuck. It was a haunted maze, a haunted attraction. Like, you know, like Not Scary Farm, how they build those mazes. I made one to go. Like I built a maze, and I was like, cool, we'll come to you and like set up a maze in your house.
It's like a mobile maze.
Mobile maze.
Okay.
That was what I thought was going to work, right? I didn't understand business. This is cool. Walking Dead was a thing back then.
Yeah.
So I had like $2,000 saved. I threw it in to build this maze, made it pretty cool. And we did all of this stuff, right? Sure enough, like we have the maze, we have all this stuff. And I'm like, cool, let's start selling it. I didn't account for like the fact that no one really wanted this maze thing. I wanted it. I thought it was cool. But like no one else cared about it. Like it was not a feasible business. So that was the first business I started, and it was a flop. Huge fucking flop. After that, I like was like, okay, you get kind of scared, right? You get gun shy. Yeah. Like it's like a boxer that gets knocked out. He doesn't want to fight, or he's scared to like fight again.
Especially if it was your first venture. It's discouraging.
Yeah. So that happened. I was like, fuck, all right, we'll figure it out. I still wanted to make money. I knew I wanted to make money. That's when I got my sales job. I started like learning more about sales and business, how business works. Started applying for more sales jobs. And the next thing I started was like flipping cars, because I was selling cars right at CarMax. We had access to like all the car knowledge, right? So, and that's when I learned, like, I think a big takeaway from that is I learned that if you have a skill, you can turn it into money. Yeah. So I learned about cars, and I was like, shit, like I can start buying cars for cheap and flipping them. So I started flipping cars, and I remember that's like the first time like I technically started a business, made like 10 grand from a business. Fire. I flipped like three cars, made some money. I was like, this is fucking cool. It's fucking cool. And then I realized like, okay, this is too slow though. Right. That's when I started learning about the speed thing. So I discovered the power of the internet. I started working for this guy, Ty Lopez.
Ty Lopez? Yeah. So you were working underneath him?
Yeah. Or? So I was doing a sales job. I was selling cars. And then like I saw this guy, Ty Lopez, pop up on YouTube, and I'm like, let me apply to work for him, like see what's up. I started doing sales for him because I had sales experience already. And he opened my eyes to the world of like new school business, like internet, social media, all that stuff. So I had my car flipping thing. I was still doing that. And then I realized, yo, there's other businesses I could start that'll be way better, way faster, right? Because he had students that were making like 10, 20, 30 grand already. They were like 19 years old. I was like, fuck, I need to do that. Yeah. So I started a social media marketing agency, pretty much what I ended up doing. And this is like another hiccup. It fucking failed too.
Really?
It failed too. I was trying to find clients. Couldn't find any clients. It's funny enough, Dustin owns an MMA company.
Yeah,
I was
MMA
like, let me run your social media for you. And I tried. I didn't know anything about social media. I just asked him to do it, and I fucking flopped, dude. I felt bad. He got mad at me because like I didn't deliver on any of the results I told him I was going to deliver on.
Yeah, but it was like your first try, my first
right? Yeah. So that failed. Didn't stop trying. At that point, I was like so used to failure already. Like I embraced it. I was like, fuck it, what's the next thing? I started an e-commerce store, right? The shit you sell out, like a Shopify store, selling women's jewelry, stuff like this. And that made money. I made like, I think 15, 20 grand on that. But then I realized profits on that stuff is like only $3,000. So I was
Really?
like, fuck, I did all this work for $3,000, closed that down. And I stopped for a while until finally I started I was like, let me give the social media agency another try. Cause like I had fun when I was doing it, right? Like even though I didn't make money, I was like, it's fun to create content. It's fun to create videos. And I was already creating videos in my spare time anyways, cause I had a passion for it. So I was like, let me do it again. But this time, like, I'm going to do it my way. I'm not going to try and like do some Facebook ads type bullshit. Like I was like, let me just make cool shit that I fuck with, and hopefully it works out.
At what year was this in your life?
2017.
2017. Okay, so about 4 years ago.
Yeah, 2017. And sure enough, I got a client, and I did good for them. They referred me to a client, so I got 2 clients. I was like, oh shit, it's working out. Got another client, got another client, and this client was fucking huge. They were like paying me like $10,000 a month. And I was like making $30,000 a month at this point. I was like, fuck this. I don't need a job. I got my business. I'm good to go. And the rest is kind of history.
Fire, man.
Like I just started building it up until eventually like this is the evolution of that 4 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you kind of just never look back from that time.
Yeah, because once you pick up momentum, you just go.
Yeah.
You just go and like you just keep building on top of that.
So how have you learned the value of building a brand then for like your personal Rene Lacad self, like social media followings? Because you have big followings on like your TikToks, your IGs, YouTube.
I think a brand is everything, bro. A brand is everything. So like, as far as building a brand, I think my best advice to anyone trying to build a brand is authenticity.
Okay.
100% authenticity. Because if you look at like anyone, it's hard to fake a brand. It's hard to fake it. Like if you look at anything, there has to be congruency in it. As soon as people smell this, like someone being disingenuous, it's the end of their brand. Yeah. Because like they're like, they don't relate to that anymore. The strength I have with my brand, the reason people follow me, is because I literally talk about fucking whatever. I don't try to be someone I'm not. I'm not like, there's a lot of entrepreneurs on there, especially on social media, that are just like, do this entrepreneurship. Like it's so fucking head ass. Like people are so like, I hustle 9 to 5. Like, oh, I'm just kind of like, I don't set an alarm. I wake up at 10 and I just do my thing.
Yeah. So like, are these skills that you learned from Ty Lopez, or like how did you learn the importance of building a brand?
I think I learned the importance of building a brand specifically through just doing it. Really? Through just doing it, yes. Because like I learned from Ty, I learned marketing, right? Like I learned about like the psychology behind marketing and some of that stuff, and I thought it was really cool. But as far as like the actual brand building part of it, I didn't realize like how powerful it was until I had a brand myself. Because when I'm building someone else's brand, I'm like, oh, that's cool, I'm building a brand. But once I had a brand myself, I was like, this is fucking crazy. I remember one time for one of my brands, I turned off all the marketing. Like I wasn't doing any Facebook ads. I wasn't posting on social media. I wasn't promoting anything. And that day we still did like $2,000 in sales. Wow. In one day. And I was like, I literally turned off all the marketing. So I left it off. And you'll see it. You'll keep getting sales no matter what. No matter what. You could have nothing going on for you. So I tell everyone this, like the beautiful part about a brand is you can sell anything. If people are loyal to your brand, they'll buy it. That's very true. If you have an organic following. Yeah. Apple could release a car and anyone would buy it. I could.
That's why like Kanye, bro, can do whatever he wants and people are gonna still live and die by him.
It was so funny because like it's funny you say that. There's a video of Kanye that I like show everyone when they talk about brands, and it's Kanye talking about once you have a brand you could sell anything. And he talks about Lady Gaga. I don't know if you've seen that video.
She's like the creative director for Polaroid or something.
He's like, Gaga's the creative director for Polaroid. What the fuck does
she know about cameras?
I like some of the Gaga music, but what the fuck does she know about cameras? Nothing. But like she has such a good brand that it doesn't even matter, bro. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of a brand. Yeah. People will live and die by a brand, and once you build a brand, you will never struggle with money ever again. Right. Like one thing for me. People say, oh, why do you spend money? Like I spend money on fucking stupid shit. I got a bust down. I dropped
Cartier.
I dropped like fucking like 20 grand in the club in one night. Like I've done shit like that. And people are like, why? My mom especially, she's like, why do you spend money like that? You're not scared you're gonna go broke? I'm kind of like, Mom, like my face holds value now. That's the craziest part. Yeah. Right? If I claim bankruptcy everywhere, what are they gonna do? Rip my face off?
That's true. Yeah, they can't take that away from you.
They can't take that away from
They
me.
can't take your brand or following away
They
from
can't
you.
take my brand, my phone.
I didn't think
nothing,
about that.
Nothing. So it's literally like, no matter what, if I lose everything, if I had $0 today, I still have my brand, I still have my face. I could easily make anywhere from like 50 to 100 grand. Like my personal brand right now makes like 100. We fluctuate between like 50 to 100 grand a month. And that's just through my face. That's not an actual, like it is an actual business, but it's all through me.
Yeah. And that brings me to my next question, because I feel like this is very important in today's day and age. And I think I saw a TikTok that you may have did on it as well, where it's just like, is a social media following more important than a college degree?
100%.
You know what I mean?
Man.
Nowadays?
100%. I think the most important part of all that is just skills. It's just skills, like having skills. Because some people have social media followings, but they don't have the skills behind it. Like a social media following is useless if it's not real, right? Like all the fucking time. Like when you're in LA, you see a bunch of girls that buy a bunch of fake followers. Miami too. You see a bunch of girls that just buy all these followers because they want to look cool.
Yeah.
Your followers are useless if you don't build them and you don't cater to them correctly. A great example, there's a girl with she had like 4 million Instagram followers, and she launched merch like t-shirts. She sold 4 t-shirts.
Really?
That shit is tragic, bro. Yes.
Because she bought all those, or what?
No, just because like her she doesn't listen to her followers. That's not what they want. She's trying to bring a horse to water.
Okay.
Right? Like you can bring a horse to water. You can't make it drink.
Yeah, yeah.
So with your followers and your brand, you have to really listen. You have to genuinely care about them. Mm-hmm. They're people. Here's the beautiful part. With my followers, I have, I think, across all platforms, 800,000 right now. Each one of those people has been built organically. I didn't buy any of them. They chose to follow me out of their own free will. And on top of that, I cater to them. I look at like I might not respond to all the DMs I get. I get a couple hundred DMs every single day. But I go through them really fast. I'm like, what do they want? What are they asking for?
Yeah, and I'm sure you're providing consistent value to them.
Right. Well, I base what I provide based on what they want.
Okay.
And I build that genuine relationship with them. I show them more than just the business shit. Like they can learn business from anyone. I'm not the best entrepreneur in the world by any means. I'd love to think so, but there's people that are way fucking better than me. But people that have my swag, that have like my distinct personality, it's not there.
That's true. You can't put a price on charisma.
Yeah.
Or charm. Yeah.
Well, and more than that, there's parts of my story that they relate to, and they wouldn't know if I just talked about business. I didn't talk about my life. They could be like, oh, whatever.
So being vulnerable is another aspect to it too.
Yeah, like look at Drake. Drake is the biggest fucking artist in the world. You know why? Because he just tells people his life.
Yeah, through songs. And I think he doesn't get enough credit for how militant he probably moves and how strategic he probably moves with like the emotional chords he pulls with the lyrics he drops. Like
right.
he knows that you're gonna relate to this song.
Playing chess.
I only love my bed and my mama, bro. Everybody can relate to that.
It's true, man.
Like,
but that's the thing. Like, if you give people everything, what can they like? They love you or hate you.
Yeah.
But you don't want the people that are gonna hate you anyways. You can't please them. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why the fuck are you trying to please people that aren't even gonna like you? No matter what, some people are never satisfied.
Yeah, that's very true.
You might as well get the people that relate to you, that fuck with you, that genuinely like you, because those people will ride or die for you.
So speak on that part then, like, cause you probably really receive a lot of hate too from people as well, or do you? I'm not gonna speak for you.
I do. I literally posted today, and people are just going in. I posted a couple hours ago. There's like 120 comments. I want to say like 50 of them are bad. Here's the way I see it. Misery loves company. Misery loves company. Let me explain what I mean by that. People don't want to see other people happy.
Yeah.
It's this crazy thing. Like, and I know this from experience. When I was broke and I was like trying to come up, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, everyone was so like, oh, you're crazy, you're not gonna do that, okay, whatever, right? Like, then as soon as I did it, instead of being like, oh, congratulations, good job, it became, oh, you're faking it, or oh, your life is not real.
It's always
like,
something. You
don't have to brag. And it's kind of like, I said I was gonna do this, I did it, and now you're mad that I'm bragging. Like miserable people, like they don't want to see other people happy, because then like it's a human thing. Human beings are naturally like jealous. It's a weird thing, right? Yeah. And like they're naturally angry. They naturally want, if they can't be happy, they want other people to. It's a crab in a bucket mentality. Yeah. Like if they can't make it out, they don't want other people to make it out.
Yeah. They say hurt people hurt people.
100%. Right? So it's like I see it all the time. I'm kind of like, bro, how miserable do you got to be to like hate on me. You've never met me, right? My overall message on social media is like, work out, be healthy, work on yourself, build a business, make some money, like be free.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think there's anything negative about that. I never put anyone down on social media unless I'm joking with my friends. Like, I'm never out here like critiquing anyone or doing any negative shit. And the stuff people say on social media, it's kind of like, oh, you're a fraud, you're a phony, you're a scammer. It's kind of like, bro, what did I do to you?
Yeah.
To like make you angry at me?
Who hurt you?
Yeah, who hurt you? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, misery loves company, man. You can't stop it. I realized that. Like, at first, I would reply to every comment. Because, like, I don't care about the hate. If someone's like, you're ugly, I'm like, cool. But I do care when people spread lies about shit.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you grew up rich, or like you grew up, like it hits a chord with me, because I'm kind of like, bro, you don't know how I grew up.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't know my life, like.
Yeah, I don't. Shout out to my homie Adrian, who's on here too. He's talking about the same thing. How just like some people give him shit for like posting his rollie or like just flaunting shit, and he's just like, man, I never had shit. So you're gonna tell me I couldn't do anything when I was younger? I grow up, I do something, and now I want to have fun with what I have, and now you expect me to not talk my shit? Like, you're crazy. I did a thing on social media. So like, I'll give it charity, but I usually just do it privately. But like sometimes I'll do it like on social media because I want to get other people involved. So it was last year, I did something for like Christmas or Thanksgiving. I was like, hey, I'm thankful for you guys. You guys helped me build this platform. You did all this for me. So this year, I want to give to charities on your behalf. So like, drop a charity you want to, I'm gonna donate money to them. And I did like a couple $1,000s. Like I did like $3 to $5 grand of just donations. And I remember I was posting like screenshots like, hey, it was like a question. So on Instagram, like I answered it and I was like, here, done, donated. It's like $500 to a charity, $500 to another one. And I remember people were like, oh, if you're gonna donate, like do it out of the goodness of your heart. Like don't post it on social media. I'm kind of like, what the fuck did you do? Because I just fed like fucking 100 kids. What did you do? Yeah. And why are you hating on me for that? Like, it was very frustrating because I'm like, you can't, even if you do good things like that, people are going to find a way to like. Yeah, it just goes back to like, there's always somebody who's going to hate on whatever you do, no matter what it is. That's why now, honestly, like my biggest thing with that, I mind my business. If it doesn't affect me, I try not to pay attention to it. I ignore it. Occasionally I'll still go in on people just because like like I'm having a bad day or something. I'm like, oh, he's an easy target and he started it, so like it justifies it for me. I'm like, I get the Twitter fingers going. The Twitter fingers, man. It's sometimes it's hard to not see them. Like at the end of the day, it's as hard as you try not to like let it get to you. We're all human. Like we're not a robot. At the end of the day, like that shit sometimes gets to me as well. But yeah, man, especially at the stage where you're at and the following that you have, it's got to be hard sometimes to like. Yeah, well, like here's the thing: people expect me to like to act like I'm on a pedestal, right? They expect me to like act like a saint. Yeah. It's like, motherfucker, I'm the same person that I am. Now people just watch me. I've been doing this, but people just watch me now. Yeah. I'm not gonna change my behavior and be a saint just because people are watching me. I'm gonna be me because that's how I built all of this in the first place. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is. But like, you know, like I have toned some things down just because I know, like, I'm gonna be an example for some people. So I don't want to like do all that. Like I used to post like when I didn't have followers, I used to post a lot of girls and stuff. Now, like I don't want guys growing up and like starting business to think like, oh, that's all it's about. Like get money, fuck bitches. I don't want to spread that message. So like we're conscious of the public image you're putting out. Yeah. But at the same time, like I'm still gonna live my life. I'm not gonna be completely just phony and like vanilla now that people are watching. With the way like cancel culture is now and just like the fact that there's a lot more sensitivity out there, do you take that into consideration as well? Like does that like prevent you from sometimes acting ways that you want to act at all? No, because I'm kind of like, yo, if they're gonna cancel me, just cancel me. It's like, I think it sucks. Cancel culture sucks if you're like a public figure, in the sense that like you make all of your money through like being a public figure. Yeah. Right? With me, it's cool because I have a business, so a real business. So it's like, you can cancel me, cool, it's gonna hurt a little bit, but like I'm still gonna have my business at the end of the day. And like on top of that, I don't think cancel culture is like a real thing as much anymore. It's like, look at who got canceled recently. David Dobrik got canceled. He's back to making vlogs every week. People love it. It's fine. Yeah. Logan Paul got canceled. That's true. He just fought Floyd Mayweather. So it's like what does cancel culture really do? Like people get mad at you for a little bit. They might dislike you for a long time. But at the end of the day, just get over it. Yeah, you can get out. Yeah. What do you have going on like outside of your businesses? Like, do you have anything that like you're planning to do or that like you have aspirations to do? Because you're only 25. You got a lot of life to live.
I think at my core, like I like entertaining people. I like impacting people in that way. So like I've just been doing a bunch of shit that's creative. I love this creative podcast because one, I get to showcase like entrepreneurship. People assume like entrepreneurship and being creative is two different things. Because people say like, oh, and John Travolta said this, I think. Yeah, John Travolta, I was at like a little seminar conference thing and John Travolta was speaking. And there's this narrative going around that like there's like nobility in being a starving artist. And there's not. Like if your art, and John Travolta said it this way, and this is one of the biggest actors ever. And he said like, if your art is good, you deserve to be paid for it. Don't let people push around the narrative like, hey, you should be a starving artist, because it's not true. Yeah. So like I think that you should be able to monetize your art. And I think with entrepreneurship, right, people assume entrepreneurs are corporate and like suit and ties, and they're not like people that are creative at all. But I disagree. Like I think you can be a creative and an entrepreneur as well. And I think there's beauty in that. So right now I'm doing a lot of things that are not even entrepreneurial. I'm just doing stuff I'm passionate about. I make music, so like I rap.
Really? You make music too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just for fun. Like I don't do it for money. Yeah. And it's cool because like you see the brand, the people, they all listen to it. So I have like 50,000 streams on like
there you go on
streaming platforms just for me fucking rapping.
Yeah.
I've been making YouTube videos. I just shot a role for a movie.
Wow.
3 days ago. So I want to do everything. I want to do movies. I want to fucking make music. I want to create content. Just everything where I'm able to like express myself. Like I want to do all that on top of running my businesses, obviously.
It sounds like you just don't like to limit yourself.
Yeah, I don't like to limit myself.
Shameless pun. We got Limiter. So let's actually segue to that. So that's like another business that you started recently, right? Mm-hmm. How did you concept that, and like what inspired the idea to start it?
So this one's cool actually, because I was watching a movie, and this is what I mean exactly when I said in the beginning of the podcast, like the beautiful part about life, this life we live in, the reason it's like a game, is you can just create things that are in your head. It's weird. It sounds weird.
You really can. It sounds like you have so many resources.
It sounds like mysticism, like, oh, you can create things. If it's in here, you can create it. But I don't mean it like that. I mean it in the sense that like literally anything you see, anything you can fathom, you can make it into a reality. So with me, I was literally just, one day I was in Miami. I was high as fuck. I was just watching the movie Limitless. And I'm like sitting on my couch and I'm just like stoned watching this movie. And I'm kind of like, that's really fucking cool. Like, what if that existed? Does that exist? Like, let me look this up. Like, am I missing out on something? Like, why hasn't anyone made this yet? Sure enough, like, I get on my laptop and I'm just like looking. I'm kind of like, oh, I guess like people make some stuff like this, but like, there's nothing that really exists like that. What if I made that in real life? I just started getting the idea, right? And like, whenever I get ideas or for businesses or anything I'm going to do, I just sit on it for a couple of days. I'm like, that's a cool idea. Let me sit on this and like plan it out. So I remember it was just stuck in my head. I'm like, all right, fine. Let me dig a little bit deeper. Let me go deeper into the rabbit hole. Looked up domain names, potential business names. I found this cool domain name. It's one word, literally, like, which is impossible in today's day and age. Yeah, no,
for real. You usually gotta pay like 10, 15K for that.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, damn, like everything just started aligning. And I was like, okay, let me figure this out then. Like, I wanna genuinely like look into this and see what I can do with this. So I started just looking into it, doing research, hitting people up, hitting up manufacturers, seeing what people can do. And like the more and more like I dug into it, I was like, this is fucking cool. This is like becoming a real thing. So long story short, I was like, let's do some R&D. Let's figure out like ingredients. Let's figure out stuff that like actually works, not bullshit. I don't want to sell like some bullshit, because like you're never gonna make money like that. If you sell something that doesn't work, a bad product, no matter like how good your marketing is, it's not gonna sell, because people aren't gonna buy it again.
Yeah, you don't have repeat customers.
So eventually I just started looking into a lot of things. There was like 4 or 5 different variations of just samples, and I was using myself as a guinea pig. I was like not doing it until eventually I was like, I took one day. I was like, this feels fucking good. I like this.
What did you feel?
I personally just felt like energetic, like happier though. Okay. Happier, like, and I can go into the science behind some of this stuff too. I don't want to like get boring with it, but like, so a great example with this, we really did research on all the ingredients that go into it. One of them, like a prominent one, and it was actually trending on social media for a little bit, so it might have helped us gain traction, is L-tyrosine. And
What's that?
What it is it's an amino acid, and it helps your dopamine receptors. It's like a dopamine receptor helper.
Okay.
So when you do stuff like that, your brain, like, it helps your brain, like, with the dopamine. And dopamine is the success, like, chemical. Like, whenever you get any sort of win, you in your body releases dopamine. That's what happens. So when you have like L-tyrosine in there, it just helps you feel like happier, more upbeat. It gives you a little bit more energy, just because it feels like you're winning.
Right.
Okay. So there's something like that. There's ashwagandha in there, which helps like blood flow in muscles, and that's really popular right now too. A lot of people take that. It's almost like a meditative drug, not drug, but meditative supplement that people take. But when increased blood flow mixed with like better dopamine, like, it helps you whether you're in the gym, whether you're just walking through the day. There's another one in there like ginkgo and biloba, and that helps. That's been shown to like help improve memory.
Wow.
So I think it's like a perfect storm of like, you have this thing that just helps you feel like you're winning, helps you feel like happier, more upbeat, like a rush of dopamine. On top of that, you have your ashwagandha, which helps the blood flow in your body. Then you have something that's a herb that's been used for like centuries. This is not just like a herb that like, oh, we found this on the side of the road. Like, no, this is something that's been around for centuries, that's been shown to like improve memory in some people, and they've used it for a long time. It's like ancient. You mix all those, you throw some caffeine in there. Like, when you have all of that coming together like a perfect storm, it's like wonderful, because you're like, you feel good.
Yeah.
Like, let me ask you, what's your experience been with it?
It's been exactly what you explained. So it's interesting hearing like the ingredients behind how it actually affects you, because when I take it, I do marketing too, kind of like you. So like when I take it in the morning, it kind of helps me focus with like the task that I have at hand. Right. And I tested it myself. I was like, let me try to take it on a couple of days, then not take it, so I can see like how it is without it. Yeah. And I'm just like, you could for sure tell the difference, that like it gives you a boost when you're doing what you want. Definitely. And everything that you're saying makes sense, because I feel like every quality that you explain. Yeah.
And like the biggest thing, right? Like, I don't want to make it seem like it's a miracle pill, because people are like, you're a scammer. It doesn't exist. It's not a miracle pill, but there is science behind like why it works and what it does to your brain and why it can help you. Right. And going back to what I said, like the one thing I did, there was no magic pill, but like what I did that helped me a lot in entrepreneurship was massive action. Yeah, okay, what's something that can help you do massive action? Something like this, right? Some people like coffee, espresso. Other people like Adderall and shit, but they obviously need prescription to get that. So it's like if massive action is what you need to take, like there's ways to like assist yourself in doing that. I think this is a great one. Yeah,
it's an enhancer for sure. 100%. So you focused first on building the product and making it as best as it can be. And then what was the next step? Obviously marketing and whatnot. So you just use your general knowledge for that?
Well, it's not necessarily general knowledge. It's like marketing is where it gets fun, right? Because like marketing is where it gets creative. That's where the creative part comes in. And here's a good example of it. You know, toothpaste was not a success, right? We think toothpaste now, we're like, toothpaste is like, yeah, everyone fucking uses toothpaste.
It's an essential.
It's an essential. It wasn't though. Bro, like back then, no one used fucking toothpaste. So when like this company created toothpaste, and they came to this marketing company and they're like, hey, we need to sell toothpaste. They tried and they failed a bunch. Like you couldn't make toothpaste stick, because people were like, why do I need toothpaste? Right? Really? This is before it was a thing. And what the marketing trick, the little creative twist that they added that made toothpaste successful is they made it minty.
Really? That's the difference?
They made it minty. Because here's the thing. Toothpaste doesn't need to be minty. Yeah. To clean your teeth, like it doesn't need to be minty. So why is it minty? Because like when people do that and they feel the fucking mintiness in their mouth, they're like, this is doing something to me.
Emotionally.
That sensation they're feeling, they're like, ooh, this is making me clean. This is making my teeth clean. It's doing something for me. That was the little creative like marketing thing that they used for toothpaste that made it a success. Okay. And it's crazy. So that's what I mean. Like marketing isn't necessarily like, oh, do this and like we're gonna play it on the radio, we're gonna show our ad to the TV. Because you could have fucking $1 million marketing budget, blow through all of it. If you don't have the right creative twist, if you don't resonate with people, you'll lose it right away. That's why people fail when they start businesses. They can't market their product. They can't make it a product that people would like. So with that, like, honestly, I just tried a bunch of different angles. I sat there and I was like, who would need this? Entrepreneurs, athletes, creatives, content creators. just a few students, right? Like, and I listed out this entire thing. I was like, cool. I'm gonna make an ad that resonates with every single one of these angles. I'm gonna make one for entrepreneurs, right? And I think I featured myself in there because I had a brand. I'm gonna make one for students. I'm gonna make one for fucking single moms. I just made all of these and I tested them all on social media till eventually, like, one of them caught on. People liked it, and I saw that. I was like, cool, let's run with it.
So that's the creative aspect that you're talking about.
Yeah.
The way your mind works.
100%.
Is that something though that you can teach to somebody, or is that something that you kind of just have to know yourself?
So I think you don't, and here's the thing, you don't need to be creative to run a business. You just have to know what you are good at.
Okay.
Albert Einstein says something. It's like, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll live its entire life thinking it's stupid. It's true though. You have to know what you're good at. Like, when people think entrepreneurs, like, I have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs and they're not creative at all. Their fucking brain is like, we got to do this and this and this and this. They're still successful entrepreneurs, but they look at, like, let's look at the numbers of clicks that were on our ad, and, like, let's spend our budget accordingly based on
analytical.
The data. Yeah. And those people, they need to stick with that because they're not creative. But then people that are creative, I would not be successful if I went and tried to do that.
Yeah.
Because my brain doesn't work like that. My brain works more on, like, let's make, this would be fucking cool if we made this. Like, if we did this, like, that's how my brain works. So by sticking with what I'm good at and, like, playing into my strengths, that's kind of how I was able to succeed in that. Because if I gave this to a marketing company where they only did, like, that numbery shit, they could probably make it successful, but they probably have to hire people in the creative department.
Yeah.
So it's just knowing your strengths and letting other people do the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's different too if you're invested in the product, because you're the one that concepted it. Like, somebody else, an agency, isn't going to fight for it as hard as you are.
Yeah. I think one of the beautiful parts about marketing and being creative is, if you're creative and you own a marketing agency, that's more of a strength than being, like, numbers oriented.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I feel like someone owned, like, a shipping and freight company where they have to, like, ship shit. Like, I think you need to be, like, logical, or, like, all right, we
it's
have
logistical. It's all logistical.
6 trucks coming at this time, and, like, they leave here and we're gonna pack them in, like, 30 minutes, and, like, they do all that stuff. But, like, with something like marketing, I think it helps when you're creative, because you can captivate people. You can, like, win their hearts, and that's, like, really what it is.
Pull on those emotional triggers.
It's beautiful when you can win someone's heart by something you create.
Yeah.
And, like, you can share your vision with someone else, and for them to, like it and enjoy it and follow it, it's beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
Switching gears here a little bit, what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe watching this and they want to start their own business in the creative realm, whatever it may be, whether it's starting a clothing brand, whether it's becoming a DJ, just anything that where they building their own brand? What advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out?
I would say, really, like how we talked about in the beginning, like, wanting it and needing it. You have to need it. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to succeed at that. So when I talk about marketing, right, I love marketing. I'm a freak about it. I'm a huge fucking nerd about marketing. Everything else, you talk to me about anything, I'm kind of like, I don't know. When it comes to marketing, I know every single thing. I've read every single book. I know all the psychology of marketing, what it takes to, like, go creative with it. Earlier in the podcast, we talked about, like, what kind of camera you use, the lighting, right? Like, you have a little playback right there. So we talk about the sound, like, and this is all involved in marketing. You might think it's like AV, right, technically, but no, it's marketing, because if you're going to create content, you have to know this stuff too.
Yeah.
So when it comes to marketing, I know every single thing about marketing, because that's my bread and butter. That's what I do. That's what I love to do. So if you want to be a DJ, I know people all the time, like, oh, I want to be an artist, right? I have a lot of friends that are artists. We're in LA. We all have friends that are artists. They want to be musicians. They're kind of like, cool, I want to be a musician. I'm like, awesome. Like, what are you doing to do this? Like, do you make your own music? They're like, no. I was like, okay, do you have a mic at home? They're like, no, I just go to the studio. Do you produce do you, like, edit your music or master your music? They're like, no. I was like, so what do you want to do? They're like, well, I just want to sing the songs. I'm kind of like, you're not passionate about music then.
Yeah.
You're not. Because if you were, you would fucking dive into every single facet of music. You would know, like, the little, I don't know it because I'm not passionate about music like that. Like, I make it, but I'm not, like, a hardcore rapper. but you would know like all the little things that go into like music theory. You would understand music theory.
Yeah. And the thing is too, sorry to cut you off,
Yeah.
but there's no excuse nowadays to not know what those
Everything.
skills are now, because there's YouTube, Google, like
Right.
maybe before, in like before 2000s, it may have been a little bit bigger of a knowledge gap, but
Right.
now the information's out there. If you don't get that information, you don't know it's because you didn't take
100%.
the effort to do it.
So it's like I've seen it so many times where I'm kind of like, oh, you want to be a musician? Cool. Like, how come you aren't dropping any music? I dated this girl. She wanted to be like a musician, an artist, right? I'm like, awesome. Like, what are you doing to like be an artist? Because you seem very passionate about it. Why haven't you dropped music in 2 months? She's like, oh, it's like she makes excuses.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, yo, then you don't want to be an artist. You want like what comes with it. You want to be like famous or like popular.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
wanna
very
seem cool.
true. Your why is very important.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like, if like, do you like it for what it is? Because if you did, you would do every single thing possible. So anyone that's getting into any creative endeavor, you have to know it in and out. Like I'm not passionate about fucking cameras, but I know every single thing, because if I'm shooting a commercial and I want it to look a certain way, I need to know what camera it is and what lens goes on that camera,
Very
how we're
true.
gonna record the sound, because I want that to come out perfectly.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it, bro. Because I was telling you
Yeah.
this off camera too. But when I started this podcast, I just knew I wanted to do what the podcast was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about the camera, the lighting, the audio. Like, I just knew I wanted to do this. But along the way, I learned these things because I was like, if I want to make this experience as best as it can be, I know that I have to learn this shit that I don't really care about to produce the experience that I want.
Ultimately,
you know?
ultimately, if you want to do what you love, there's stuff that comes with it that
you gotta eat,
don't
you
like
gotta
to do.
eat little shit. You have to.
Yeah. And the best part is like you don't have to do it forever,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like let's say you're an artist. In the beginning, you start by like making your own music, doing everything it takes, uploading your own music to distribution, handling everything. Then eventually, like you don't have to do it anymore. Let's say you blow up. Now you have money for producers, you have money for studio time, you have money for this. Same thing with this podcast, right? Like you're doing everything right now. Eventually, when this blows up, you're gonna have people that can do the editing for you, the video, the sound. You just get on, you do your podcast, and then you get off. Everyone else handles everything else.
That's a great way to put it, man, because I'm sure it's similar like this. Like I see you're hiring like salespeople now. But it's important for you to know the tasks that you're delegating to people as well, because you know how to
100%.
to communicate that to that person to do it for you.
A great example too. I have editors on my team that just handle like all my content.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so I have a pretty good team, but like with any of them, they'll be like, oh, this. I'm like, that's bullshit, because I've done that. I've done what you've done, and it doesn't take that long to edit a video. Let's say I need a YouTube video. I'm like, hey, can I have this week? Or like, let's say I need a couple TikToks. I'm like, can I have 5 TikToks by the end of the week? They're like, oh, it just takes too long. I'm like, that's bullshit, because like
I've done it before.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
I can do it myself, but the reason I'm paying you is because you need to do it.
Yeah.
So once you know everything about whatever you're doing, it makes it easier, and then that's how you succeed at it too.
Very true, man. I like a lot what you're saying. You're spitting right now. Fire. Okay, well, switching gears again, where do you see yourself? This might be a cliche question,
Right.
but like, where do you see yourself at the age of 35? What do you see yourself doing?
Couple of things, man. Like I think my ultimate goal, honestly, is just to be happy.
Just to be happy.
I dream. My fantasy is one day, I wake up and like I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, I want to move to fucking Bali and just like disappear off the face of the map one day forever. And I would be so cool with that. That's the ultimate goal. So by 35, I just want to be happy. Hopefully, however it might come. But realistically, like obviously, I don't see that happening. I kind of just want to be like a person of influence, right? Like I want to be someone that is like widely respected, but also like someone that impacts a lot of lives. Like one person I love and like my idol, my role model, the person I base a lot of my life on, or like my trajectory at least, is LeBron James.
Really? Why?
One, he grew up with no dad. He had a single mom. They gave him millions of dollars at age 17, and you have not seen him in like the news, any scandals.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
like 37 now. It's been 20 years. He's been with the same woman, has a beautiful family with them, right? And he's diving into so many different things. Not only does he play basketball, he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He also does movies, right? Like he has his own production company, and then he also helps with a lot of social issues that mean a lot to him. He built a school in his hometown that addresses a lot of the issues. Yeah, the I Promise School, and it addresses a lot of the issues that, like, he really did his research. It addresses the issues of why kids like drop out of school and end up failing, or like ended up joining gangs, ended up like staying in the streets. It addresses a lot of those. Like one of them was like the kids didn't have a way to get to school, right? Like LeBron had to walk to school, miles every single day. So one thing that his school, the I Promise School, does is they give all the kids bikes to make sure they can make it to school. So they're addressing it's like a really well thought out. You can tell he genuinely wanted to help his community, and he's using his platform to do that. He speaks out about like all these issues all the time. He gets hate for it, but like the man is doing everything in his power. He has a beautiful family. It's an amazing thing to watch, and like I aspire to be like that.
Yeah, and it goes back to the hate thing. He's still probably one of the most hated athletes around, and yet he is a perfect role model as an athlete. So it just goes back to the fact 100%. That people are always going to hate on you regardless.
Yeah. It's like they're hating on him for what though? Because he's really good.
Yeah, literally, that's the reason why they hate on him. Yeah, they're just like, finding reasons at the end of the day. I want to go back to a piece that you talked about earlier with happiness. You just want to be happy.
Yeah.
Does it become more and more difficult for you to be happy with the more success that you gain, because your appetite grows in a sense, if that makes sense?
I love that question. I love that question.
Yeah.
I think it's a constant journey of like self-discovery. And what I mean by that is like when I was broke and starting my business, I remember I told myself, and I tweeted this also, I use my Twitter as almost like a vision board. I tweeted like, by the time I'm 24, I'm gonna be a millionaire, playboy, bachelor. Like I thought it was gonna be fucking fun, right? Like I thought that's what my life was gonna like come down to, and I thought I would be fucking happy. And then I did all that stuff. Like if you go scroll far enough on my social media, I was literally like going on trips with like 7-8 different girls. I drove my exotic car. I had like all the fancy shit, right? I got my penthouse. Like I got all the shit. And then like I realized it was like real scary too, because I was like one day I was just sitting at home by myself. I was kind of like, I'm not really happy. Like this is not really it. I thought it was it, and like for the time being it was a good motivating thing, but once I got there I was kind of like, this is not making me happy. And that's when I really started to like reevaluate, like, hey, what do I like to do? What makes me happy? And I realized that was like doing shit like this, like building stuff. Like I get high when I talk about business and like create businesses, and I take super big pride when I create like a cool piece of content. Like it just makes me feel fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And it's what makes me happy. So if I can have that for the rest of my life, that's what I'm going to do.
And the thing is too, and I'm speaking on my behalf, I'm not sure if you feel this way too, but the things that make you happy and your values are forever changing. So what makes you happy right now may not make you happy at 30, and what makes you happy at 30 may not make you happy at 35. Yeah. So that changes, and that's okay, because that's how life goes. But I think 100%. It's dope though that you got to figure out that whole lifestyle wasn't what you wanted at the age of 25, because there's some people who chase that till they're like 35 or 40, and they just wasted 15 years of their life. At 100%. Least you learn that shit quick, you know? Yeah,
I think you just have to try everything as much as you can. Like try everything. Like I said, I did a movie. It was really fun. We'll see how long that lasts. I rap. We'll see how long that lasts. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Like I think try everything and see what you enjoy. And like I said, we only live one life. You might as well do as much as you can and fill it up, right? Like fill up your life with just experiences and memories and things, because we only have one. So you might as well just do as much as you can, because on your deathbed, the worst thing is like if you live there with what ifs.
Regrets. Yeah.
If you're on your deathbed, you're like, fuck, what if I would have done this? But if you're there and you're kind of like, I literally did every single fucking thing you can imagine, I'm so happy.
And that's the thing too. You could live with yourself. If there's something you want to start or do, let's say I wanted to be a rapper, and I'm probably not fit to be a rapper, but like at the end of the day, if I did everything in my power to become a rapper and it didn't end up happening, I wasn't successful, I could live with myself, because I knew in my head that I did what I could do to do 100%, it, right?
100%, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the win isn't the payoff.
It's not, but it's not though. It's not even sometimes. I don't think the win is the payoff ever. It's like, it's always going to be that like journey of, so everyone gets mad at me because like I always look at old pictures and old shit. And they're kind of like, why are you living in the past? You peaked in the past.
Bro,
I'm kind of like, I didn't peak in the past. I enjoy seeing that. I love seeing myself broke. Cause like it's like look how far I fucking come, right? Like it's amazing. It's an incredible feeling looking back, and like it's like pride too. I'm kind of like, I'm so fucking proud of myself that I was here and now I'm here.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think people that don't take pride in like their journey, right? They just haven't been through enough.
That's very true.
They don't have a journey yet to be proud of.
So with all the things that you have going on right now in your life, there's a lot of different businesses and it's like streams of revenue that are going on. When do you take time to like look back and reflect on everything you've been through?
What do you mean? Like, elaborate on the question.
Like, do you set certain times aside to like meditate and just like look back on like what you've been through in your life, or is it just something that comes up naturally and organically?
I think a lot of it's like morning and night. Like I have a pretty set routine. I'll wake up, work out, meditate, breakfast, 2 hour, 3 hour work block, right? Then like take a little lunch break, another like 2 hour work block. And then after that, like at night, reward myself, go out, go to dinner, hang out with friends. But a lot of it's like in the morning and in the night. Like when I wake up, I'll kind of like, I wake up slow. I'm not like a rush. I hate being rushed when I wake up. So
Okay.
I'll wake up, I'll lay in bed for like 30 minutes, just kind of like looking at the roof, like dazing off. And then at night, I'll do a lot of just like thinking what I'm gonna do next, thinking like what's going on. And occasionally like it'll go into those spots where I'm thinking about, damn, this is real.
Yeah.
Like, or sometimes I'll wake up and be like, damn, this is real. This is really my life. How fucking cool is this? So
Yeah.
it doesn't feel real, bro. It
No,
doesn't.
I could imagine, bro. Because you've told me a little bit about your story, but Dustin has as well. So like, I can attest to that. Like, what you've been through is real. Like what he's saying, I'm telling you right now. Like I can attest to the fact that he has been through that shit before.
Well, like, and the craziest part is like I remember I would go to the karate studio, fucking crying, because my mom would make me do chores. I'm like, I don't want to do fucking chores. I'm so much. I can do so much better than this. I would be just venting, crying my eyes out because of fucking chores. But like, it meant a lot to me at the time. I was like, I don't want to do fucking chores for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So literally, it just like when I look back at it, I'm kind of like, fuck, man, it's crazy. Even Dustin looks, he's like, bro, it's still crazy to me. Like it's weird.
Yeah, because he sees you in a different way because he saw you from literally the bottom up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's inspirational, man. I got to say, for me too, and a lot of people watching.
It's real. It only gets real when you see it.
Yeah.
When you see it. Like if it's easy to see it on TV or social media and be like, oh, cool. But once you see it, once you know someone, and once like you see the evidence, you're kind of like, holy shit. Like,
yeah,
it's real. If he can do it, I can do it too.
Who are some people that inspire you? I know you mentioned LeBron James, obviously one of them.
I got 5.
Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kobe Bryant. I got a Kobe tattoo.
Fire.
Drake, Steve Jobs, and LeBron James.
Very diverse range of people,
like
different industries.
Arnold, literally, he was a beast, but everything he said his mind to, he accomplished.
Very
he
true.
literally became the governor of fucking California. Nuts. Kobe has that Mamba mentality. He refuses to lose, and I feel like I'm that way too. People hate how competitive I am because they're like, it's just a game. I'm like, nah, this shit is not a game. This
like
is real
regardless
life.
of if you're like playing Yahtzee or some shit with your friends. Or...
Yeah, like I go hard, everything, and it's never aggressive or hostile. It's always gonna be like trying to be better though.
Okay.
And people hate that. They're kind of like, can we just have fun? I'm like, I'm having fun right now, winning. Like that's how I'm having fun.
Facts.
So Kobe, Steve Jobs was a visionary. If you want to talk about like creativity and like marketing, Steve Jobs is that guy. He has something that's gonna last forever. Like look at Apple. It's the biggest company in the world between Apple and Amazon. Biggest company in the world. And dude hasn't even been here for the past 10 years. He died a decade ago, and he still has that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And who else did I say? Kobe, Arnold, Steve Jobs, LeBron. I kind of went into LeBron. And Drake. Drake is more of like he's great like pop culture. Like culturally, like as far as like how the culture sees Drake, I want to be like that in the eyes of the culture. I want people to be like they all respect him. Women love him. Men love him. Like he's adored widely.
Yeah.
And naturally that comes with haters, but like everyone has haters.
Yeah.
Right? And his sustained greatness is a thing. Like longevity is such a huge thing. So him being able to sustain greatness for that long, or like being at the top for that long, I respect that a lot.
Yeah, I do too. He's one for sure. If I had a top 5, he'd be my top 5 for sure as well. So you basically like to aspire to have different qualities of each one of these different people. Do you
100%.
think there's a quality that they all kind of share?
I want to say if there's a quality they all share, it's obviously like they all are like super fucking passionate about what they do.
Okay.
It's passion, because ultimately that's what drives you. Motivation goes away, right? Like you can be motivated one day, gone. Yeah, motivation's temporary. Money is only so good of a motivator, but it's not like if I offered you $1 million to kill someone, you wouldn't do it, right? But if you're passionate about killing people, I guarantee
That's
you'd be killing
true.
people.
Yeah.
Serial killers do it.
I'm not though.
So it's like passion is the one thing that like it beats anything.
Okay.
No matter what, it's like sustains it. And if you look at Steve Jobs, he was insanely passionate about fucking Apple. Kobe's insanely passionate about basketball. LeBron's insanely passionate about basketball. More than that, like a legacy. Drake is insanely passionate about his legacy. Arnold's extremely passionate about like success. So all these people are very passionate about like winning and success. And I think that's one big thing that I take from all of them.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said too about the fact that they probably all had that why that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Where there's a reason why they started, and whatever that reason was may have changed, but it was important enough for them to attain the success that they have. And the reason why I say that is because like if your why is like clout or money or whatever it may be, it's just like if you're not getting that, obtaining that, it's like you're gonna quit fast. You're gonna phase out.
Your why can't be superficial.
Exactly.
Like I said, with mine, my original, like I thought my why was like women, money, things, and I thought it was gonna be so cool. And then when you get them, you realize, holy shit, I am so fucking sad.
Yeah.
So it's like when you realize that your why is intangible, something bigger than all of that, you're just happier. You go through life like feeling good.
Why do you think so many people want that though? Like the money, the women, the fame?
Part of it's genetic, right? Like a lot of we're all human beings, we're all animals. We're let's say none of this society didn't exist, we'd be here to like mate and survive, reproduce.
Yeah.
Right. So like naturally we have an inclination towards women, and the reason people want the money, it all boils down to like women gravitate towards the men with the most resources. There's a study. It's like
it's all women, bro.
Ultimately, like genetically, that's what we are. That's what we are. But we're also genetically inclined to eat as much fat and sugar as we need to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like
to survive.
Yeah, genetically we're inclined to reproduce, so get women and eat fat, sugar to survive. But in society, as society has developed, human beings, our bodies have not developed. So we have those urges, but we don't have to succumb to them. And I think once you realize that, that's when you like aspire to be greater.
Okay.
But a lot of people will do that. There's a statistic. It's like, it's fucked up. It's like 20% of the men have sex with 80% of the women. It's crazy.
What?
It's crazy, yeah.
That's crazy. I'm just trying to take that in. Like.
So it's literally 20% of the men have sex with 80% of the women.
Wow.
And that's why it's such a big thing. That's why guys want money. That's why guys want like fame. That's why guys want all these superficial things. It's because they want to get laid ultimately. But once you realize like life is so much greater than that, like there's power that comes with that.
Yeah.
It's liberating. It feels good.
No, it for sure is. I think that when you do figure out that why though, like if I'm speaking to the audience right now, if you just continue to build off that, and if it's not like superficial, then you'll be good. And I think another thing that amplifies that fact of having like superficial wants in our society is like accredited to like the generation we're with, like social media, right? Like it just amplifies everything. When you're seeing somebody live the life that you want to live, like it makes you want to go for that even more.
Yeah, and there's another saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And it's so true though, because like when you constantly compare yourself, you will never be happy because there's always going to be more. Mm-hmm. Like I have a lot right now, but I have friends that are way richer. I have friends, shout out Zane, he's my friend Zane. He has a company that's going to do like $100 million. He's in fucking Capri, Italy right now. After coming off of like, he went to Mykonos and now he's on a yacht in Capri, Italy. I'm like, fuck, I'm here in like West Covina, Los Angeles, like chilling. So if I constantly compared myself to that, I'd always be miserable.
Yeah, and maybe he was like looking at Jeff Bezos. Like, there's always somebody, bro.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's always going to be... And Jeff Bezos could be looking at a fucking guy that lives in that unit right there, thinking like, fuck, that guy doesn't have to worry about anything Amazon does. Like, he looks so happy in his fucking loft, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there's always going to be that. So you have to just be happy with your journey, who you are. And I think once you figure that out, it just makes life so much better. You can navigate through life with a big weight off of your shoulders.
Yeah, man, I love it. You dropped a lot of good gems in this episode, my bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Is there any last words that you wanna leave us with before we end this?
Honestly, just a couple of things. I feel like this whole thing got me like real nostalgic because I feel like that's where we were at.
I love it.
But for everyone that's in a space right now where you feel like you need to do more, don't let anyone stifle your dreams, because misery loves company. People will always try and bring you down to their level no matter how you feel. So you always got to stick with what feels right in your heart, because I promise you, if you do, it will pan out eventually, as long as you keep going. So don't let people kill your dreams. You honestly have to keep going. Don't let people tell you to be realistic. You have to keep going. And I guess the second thing is buy Unlimiter. It helps you take massive action.
It really does. Just for that.
That's it, man.
I love it, bro. And yeah, what you were saying is true. I mean, Nipsey said it in an interview, like the only difference between him and somebody else is he just didn't quit. At the end of the day, like he just kept going at it. And I think if you apply that to whatever creative industry you're in and whatever you're doing, it's like a recipe for success almost. So Rene, appreciate you coming on, bro. This is amazing. We got to have a round two sometime when you come back.
I'm 100% down. We can do it in Miami.
Yeah, we can do it in Miami. I'll come through to Miami one time. All right, my guy. From Ambiance, this is Levi Rene.
Peace out,
checking out. Peace and blessings.